So right now in 2025, there's a ton of great credit cards out there offering more value than ever. However, with hundreds of options to choose from, it's really important to pick the right credit cards because some are going to be much better than others. So in this video, I took my opinions along with the opinions from thousands of comments here on this YouTube channel over the past year, and I narrowed down a list of the 7 best credit cards for anyone in 2025, plus a few other honorable mentions that we'll sprinkle in as well. But first, let's start things off here with credit card number 1 on this list that's a favorite for many people, and that is the Capital One Saver card. Now, the Capital One Saver used to be called the Saver One, but it got rebranded a few months ago. And this is going to be a super popular no annual fee card because not only do you get a standard $200 welcome bonus after you spend $500 in the first 3 months, but you're also going to be able to earn 3% cash back on grocery stores, dining, entertainment, and popular streaming services. On top of that, you can earn 5% cash back on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel. So all those spending multipliers there are going to be amazing for a credit card that costs nothing to hold. But what I think is really cool here is that the Saver card also has no foreign transaction fees when it's used outside the US, which is pretty rare for something with no annual fee to have. Now, this is meant to be a cashback credit card, so the rewards you're earning here are going to be pretty straightforward if that's the way you want to keep it. But if you know what you're doing with the whole points and miles credit card game when it comes to redeeming rewards for travel, then combining the Capital One Saver with the second card on this list here makes it even more powerful. So next, I want to go ahead and talk about the Capital One Venture X, which I still think is one of the best travel credit cards on the market in 2025. The Venture X earns Capital One miles, which can be redeemed in a whole number of ways, but the best way to use them is by far redeeming for travel by transferring to a number of airline and hotel programs that you get access to on this card. Now, the trick here is that if you have both the Saver and the Venture X, then what you could do is you can actually choose to essentially convert the cashback earned from the Saver into those more valuable miles over on the Venture X instead. So yes, the Saver is a good standalone credit card for cashback, but having the ability to use it in a Capital One Duo setup like this makes it a great credit card. Now, as for the Venture X, there's going to be a lot to like here as well. So first, this card's going to come with a standard welcome offer of 75,000 miles after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months, and 75,000 miles is going to be worth a minimum of 1 cent per mile, which is at least $750 in value. Again, though, transferring those miles for travel is what you really want to learn how to do here because those same 75,000 miles could be worth potentially $1,500 or more if you're getting at least 2 cents per mile. And if you want to learn about how I do all that stuff, then I've got a free newsletter I send out every single week where I basically just teach people how to redeem their credit card points miles like a pro, so that way you can start saving money and travel like I do. With that newsletter on every single Tuesday, my team and I walk through a super easy to follow step-by-step points redemption example, so I definitely recommend checking it out, especially if you're new to this stuff. And if you want to sign up for free at the link down below, then I'm also going to give you access to my transfer partner guide that tells you which credit card points transfer to different airline and hotel programs. So again, links to all that stuff is going to be down below. Now, on the Venture X, there is going to be a $395 annual fee, but that cost is actually pretty low compared to other premium travel cards out there, like the $550 Chase Sapphire Reserve and the $695 Amex Platinum, and the $395 fee on the Venture X is also pretty easy to offset through just a few other features that come with this card. First, there's a $300 annual credit for travel that you book through Capital One, and then second, there's going to be a 10,000 mile anniversary bonus worth at least $100 that you get every single year starting after your first account anniversary. Plus, you can also receive up to $120 as a credit to cover the cost of global entry or TSA pre-check if you don't have that already. The value of all those credits essentially offsets the annual fee here and makes the Venture X what we call a keeper card. So basically, you get to enjoy all the other features here with Venture X without really worrying too much about the cost. The Venture X also earns 10x miles per dollar on hotels and rental cars booked through Capital One Travel, 5x miles on flights and vacation rentals booked through Capital One, and then 2x miles on all other purchases. And that 2x miles on everything feature also makes this one of the best catch-all credit cards out there for miscellaneous spending. There's a ton of other features and benefits packed in here as well, including airport lounge access to Priority Pass and Capital One lounges, which personally I think are some of my favorite lounges here in the US. And if you want to go ahead and learn more about the Venture X or even the Capital One Duo, then I do have full videos on those topics here on this channel that I'll link to down below as well that you can go ahead and check out after watching the rest of this video. Now, next here, I want to move on to another catch-all card that's going to be our first honorable mention for this video. And this is going to be a new credit card that I felt like I had to talk about here, which is going to be the US Bank Smartly Visa. Now, the Smartly Visa is a card that could be insanely valuable if you're someone out there who prefers cashback and simplicity because not only does it have no annual fee, but it also earns potentially an unlimited 4% cash back on every single purchase, which is basically unheard of in the whole credit card world. However, the reason I say potentially is because you do have to jump through some hoops in order to get that 4% earning rate. So in reality, you're actually going to start with earning 2% back on this credit card. Then if you also pair this card with a US Bank Smartly savings account, and if you also have qualifying balances of $100,000 or more in that account or across other US Bank bank deposit, trust, or investment accounts, then doing that is what's actually going to unlock the 4% earning rate here on the Smartly Visa card. So if you're someone who's fine with moving over at least 100K of assets over to US Bank, then in my opinion, this is going to be a really tough card to beat here, and it probably could eventually officially be on this list of the best credit cards at some point in the future. But because I know that not everyone wants to or is even able to meet the requirement it has for earning 4% back, that is what's going to keep it in the honorable mentions here for now. But again, I think it's a great credit card, so very well done, US Bank. Now, let's stick with no annual fees for this next credit card here in this list that I always say sort of feels like it should have an annual fee just because of all the unique value it provides. And that is going to be, of course, the Bilt MasterCard, which is a card that you definitely have to have if you're someone who currently pays for rent. That's because with this credit card here, you're going to be able to earn 1x Bilt point per dollar on rent payments for up to 100,000 Bilt points per calendar year, all without having to pay any transaction fees on those rent payments that almost any other credit card out there would normally charge you, because Bilt waives the transaction fee for you. That means that instead of just wasting money on rent without getting anything back, now people are actually able to get rewarded for what's probably their largest expense every month. But honestly, there's also a lot more to this card and to the whole Bilt rewards program that makes it a very easy choice to put here on this list of the best credit cards for 2025. So for other spending multipliers here, the Bilt MasterCard also earns 3x points on dining, 2x points on travel, and 1x points on everything else. Plus, there's also a few other extra ways to earn points as well, like up to 5x back on Lyft. Bilt's also constantly running promotions on the first day of every single month through something they call Rent Day. So as a part of Rent Day, you can basically earn double points on all your spending outside of rent. Plus, there's always these different transfer bonuses that are going on during that first day of the month, which is really great here because Bilt points, in my opinion, are the most valuable out of any points currency. That's because they've got some rare transfer partners like Hyatt and Alaska Airlines, as well as some other fan favorites like Virgin, Air France KLM, Flying Blue, and more. And then they also have a bunch of other different travel protections and other benefits here on this credit card to go along with all that. So if you want to learn more about the Bilt MasterCard, you can always go ahead and check out the link down below in the description, or you can also go and watch a full video I recently made on this card, which is linked down below as well. Now next here, I want to talk about a card that I kind of go back and forth with putting on these best credit card lists every single year, because on one hand here, it's a card that I think almost everyone should get at some point in their credit card journey. But on the other hand, it is sort of a beginner travel credit card that I'd say is good, but not great. So that card is going to be the Chase Sapphire Preferred, and this year I'm actually going to include it here in this video as an honorable mention. The Sapphire Preferred has a $95 annual fee, and it also comes with a $50 annual hotel credit when you book a hotel stay through Chase Travel. So after that credit is used there, that means your effective annual fee is more like $45 per year as your net out-of-pocket cost. Now I think there's really three things that make this a no-brainer credit card for almost anyone out there to get at some point in their life. So number one, there's going to be the sign-up bonus. Number two, there's a 25% points boost feature when you redeem points for travel through Chase. And then number three, the transfer partners here are really amazing, and they sort of make Chase points some of the most valuable points out there along with Bilt points. So for the sign-up bonus, the standard offer that you're going to find here is going to be for 60,000 Chase points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months. And with that 25% points boost feature that I talked about, instead of getting only 1 cent per point, where 60,000 points is going to be worth $600 for cash back, you're going to be able to get 1.25 cents per point through Chase Travel, which makes that bonus worth at least $750 in value. Most other issuers just do not have a points boost feature like this, and so I really think that having this benefit is honestly going to be a great thing to know about if you're a beginner in the whole credit card game. So as long as the prices that you're seeing inside of Chase Travel are going to be competitive, then getting 1.25 cents per point isn't too bad. However, if you're willing to learn the points and miles game like we talk about here on this YouTube channel and also over in my newsletter, then we could pretty easily beat 1.25 cents per point by taking advantage of the great transfer partners here on the Chase Sapphire Preferred. And those transfer partners are going to include Hyatt as well, which in my opinion is by far the most valuable hotel program for points. Like I said before, the goal with transferring your credit card points is to get closer to 2 cents per point, where 60,000 points from the sign-up bonus on this card would get you more like $1,200 in value. And I've got a full guide to redeeming Chase points that I'll go ahead and link to down below as well. So again, lots of resources linked down below in this video. Now, where I think the Sapphire Preferred kind of falls short of expectations are its spending multipliers, because you're going to be able to earn 5x points per dollar on travel booked through Chase, 2x on any travel outside of Chase, 3x on dining, 3x for online groceries only, and 3x for select streaming services. So those are fine, but again, they're not really that great, which is why when it comes to earning Chase points at better rates, I really like to turn to the next credit card here that is going to be on this list of the best credit cards for 2025 at number 4, and that is going to be the Chase Freedom Flex. The Freedom Flex has no annual fee, which makes it a super easy to recommend credit card to anyone, even people who are super sensitive to annual fees. Plus, there's also typically pretty good offers out there that you can find on this card that might vary from time to time, but generally what you're going to find here is something like $200 of cash back after spending $500 in the first 3 months. However, even though this card is marketed as being a cashback credit card, like some other popular cards out there, you're actually going to be earning points here instead when you read the fine print. So $200 cash back is really earned as 20,000 points that you can later convert into $200 cash back, or you can also combine those points with a Sapphire Preferred or some other Sapphire cards to redeem for potentially even more value towards things like travel, like we talked about. Now, the reason why the Freedom Flex is going to be on this list is because honestly, it's one of the best credit cards out there for earning points on everyday spending in a ton of different categories that are going to rotate throughout the year. So it's going to be able to earn 5% back, or really 5x points per dollar, on rotating quarterly categories that include things like grocery stores, restaurants, gas stations, Amazon, PayPal, and more. You do have to remember to actually activate those categories every 3 months by either going directly into your Chase account or just by clicking a link they send you through an email. But as long as you're able to do that, and as long as you're also able to stay focused on using this card mostly for the 5x categories each quarter, then you're going to be able to accumulate a whole bunch of Chase points from your personal spending like I've been able to do over the past few years. The Freedom Flex also has a few other multipliers like 3x at drugstores and 3x on dining at restaurants, which sometimes can also be stacked with some of those rotating multipliers during certain quarters of the year. But next in this video, if you're really looking for a credit card to use on food spending, then I had to include the American Express Gold card here because in terms of spending multipliers, it's really tough to beat. So the Amex Gold is going to earn 4x points per dollar on restaurants worldwide on up to 50K of spending per year, and then 4x points on groceries at US supermarkets on up to 25K of spending per year, plus 3x points on flights booked directly with airlines or through Amex Travel. The sign-up bonuses on the Gold card are also always pretty solid, and you can usually find some elevated offers if you're patient enough. However, the one thing that people do dislike about this card is going to be the annual fee, which recently got increased up to $325. Now, there are up to $424 in annual credits that can help to offset this fee, which includes credits from Uber, select dining partners like Grubhub and Five Guys, Dunkin', and then restaurants that are part of Resi. So if you take a look at your spending habits and then you decide that you're already spending money on some of these things pretty often, then this card might be a perfect fit for you. Even if you're only using some of those credits, like me, for example, where I mostly just use the Uber and the Resi credits, that can still lower your effective annual fee low enough to the point where the 4x multipliers on food make this the best card to have for dining and groceries if, number one, you spend a lot on that stuff, and then number two, you're also able to redeem all the points you earn for more value towards travel. That's because the Amex Gold earns membership rewards points, which is going to be another very good points currency with a massive list of transfer partners. So yeah, it's going to be hard to ignore this card and not at least consider it when thinking about the best credit cards of 2025. But if you're looking for more of a no annual fee cashback card for groceries and a few other things as well, then you might want to look next year and consider the Amex Blue Cash Everyday card instead, which is going to be another honorable mention on this list here. With no annual fee and the ability to earn 3% cash back on groceries at US supermarkets, 3% back on US online retail purchases, as well as 3% back on gas at US gas stations, this is definitely going to be a very powerful cashback credit card if you're going to use it for any of those things. You are going to be limited to only earning those higher multipliers on US spending though, and then there's also going to be a $6,000 spending cap on each one of those categories per calendar year. But still, if you manage to max out that 3% cash back on $6,000 of spending in those three categories, then that could be up to $540 in cash back per year. There's also credits for Home Chef and the Disney bundle of Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, and then you're also going to be able to get a sign-up bonus of $200 cash back after spending $2,000 in the first 6 months. So even though Amex is more well known for their points earning credit cards, this Blue Cash Everyday card is going to be a very solid option to consider if cashback is more of your thing. Now, another card that I am going to include here in this list of the best credit cards is also marketed as cashback because it's got cash in its name, but like some of the other cards in this list, you're actually earning points here. So next, let's talk about the no annual fee Citi Custom Cash. The Custom Cash comes with a standard sign-up bonus of $200 back after spending $1,500 in the first 6 months, which is really earned as 20,000 points. But the main selling point here that makes this a very unique card to have is that you're going to be able to earn 5% or really 5x points per dollar on your top eligible spend category each billing cycle. Those categories include restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, select travel, select transit, select streaming services, drugstores, home improvement stores, fitness clubs, and live entertainment. And what most people like to do by getting this card is they basically have it to sort of fill in the gaps in their credit card setup to earn 5x back on one of those things. Personally, I like to use this as my gas credit card for essentially a guaranteed 5x back on all my gas spending. So I pretty much just only use it for gas to lock that in as my highest category of spending by default, but I could always change that category up if I wanted to another category just by using this card for something else instead. There's really not that much else to the custom cash because it's kind of just a pretty simple credit card, but also very good and very unique because there's not really any other credit cards out there that work like this. But if you want to make this card even more powerful, then what you want to do is pair it with the next card here on our best credit cards list, and that is going to be the Citi Strata Premier. The Strata Premier got a small rebrand and a new look last year as well that now serves as Citi's top premium travel credit card at the moment, until hopefully at some point in the near future they launch something maybe even more high-end. But for now, this card comes in at $95 per year, and it also has a limited time offer that's been around for a while for 75,000 points after spending $4,000 in the first 3 months. The reason why I had to include this here on the list of the best credit cards for 2025 is just because the Strata Premier might have the best list of spending categories on any single credit card at the moment, and that's because you're going to be able to earn 3x points on air travel, hotels, restaurants, supermarkets, gas stations, and EV charging stations as well. Those categories are also going to work across the entire world and not only in the US like some other credit cards limit you to. Plus, there's also no foreign transaction fees here, so I actually ended up using this as my go-to credit card for grocery shopping when my wife and I were staying at an Airbnb in Cape Town, South Africa last month. You can also earn 10x back on hotels, car rentals, and attractions that you book through citytravel.com. Plus, there's even a $100 annual hotel credit that you get for a single hotel stay of $500 or more, excluding taxes and fees. But just like always, you gotta make sure the prices you see inside of that Citi portal are competitive, because data points out there showing that sometimes prices are good and sometimes they're not, so like anything, your mileage may vary. This card also gives you access to a really solid list of travel transfer partners, and then what you can do is you can take the points you earn from cards like the Citi Custom Cash and even the Citi Double Cash, and you can combine them with the Strata Premier card to redeem those points for even more value by transferring them. But again, because I'm trying to make this the type of video that really anyone out there can watch to build a setup of the best credit cards, I completely understand that not everyone wants a premium travel card or even access to transfer partners. So next year, I wanted to talk about another honorable mention card that's got no annual fee, that's really awesome and earns cash back, and that is going to be the Amazon Prime Visa. Now, technically, you do have to be an Amazon Prime subscriber in order to get this version of Amazon's credit card, but most people in today's world already subscribe to that anyway, including myself. And by being a Prime customer, this Visa card is now going to allow you to earn a crazy good 5% cash back on Amazon and Whole Foods, as well as 5% back on travel booked through Chase, because that's who this card is issued by. You can also earn 2% back at gas stations, restaurants, and on local transit, including ride shares. But really, what this Prime Visa card is meant to be is sort of just that card you kind of set up as your default Amazon payment method. That way you lock in getting 5% back on all that Amazon spending that most of us have. You're also gonna get one of the easiest sign-up bonuses out there in the form of a $100 Amazon gift card instantly once you get approved for this card. There's even no foreign transaction fees here, so again, for a no annual fee credit card, that's gonna be pretty rare and a useful thing to have. Now, once you've got some of the best credit cards in your wallet and you're earning all these points and all this cash back and stuff, what that means is now you've basically only completed step 1 of winning the entire credit card game. So if you want to learn the other 4 steps to winning with credit cards, then make sure you go ahead and check out this video over here on the screen next, because that's going to go over a full guide on how to really succeed with all this credit card stuff. But as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.